afternoon.
Hello.
Yep. Refresh your browsers, y'all, because today is Thursday, February 23rd, 2012, and you are listening to Room 3026 Live. Episode 472. 60-minute conversation ranging from technology to pop culture. And I'm your host, Damon Nolan. We are broadcasting live right here in Durham, North Carolina. And it is lunch hour in the Onyx Tower.
Good.
Today my co-hosts are Mr. Derek Brinson,
a.k.a. the world's funkiest man. Stay funky, my friends.
and Mr. Michael Renton.
Does it.
As always, we encourage listener participation. You can join the conversation. All you got to do is call us via the telephone at 646-929-2689. Again, at 646-929-2689. Also, you can chat with us right now over at blogtalkradio.com/Damon Nolan. I want to give a special thanks to Mr. Darren Tyler for providing our theme song. It's called Without You. And it reminds me that without you, we would not be where we are today. So let me say thank you so very much for all that you do. And let me turn to the chat room and say hi to those that are walking in right now. Let me say hi to Alan Tran, the man. He's here. And we also got Mr. Leon Lewis calling in from the Falls. What's up, man? Good to have you.
LL's funky.
With that being said, let me welcome all of you listening live and in archive. I appreciate you coming out and hanging out with us today. It is now Thursday, and it is officially over the hump. I think we can say that now.
On the downward slide.
That's right.
Into the happy place.
That's right. So we look forward to today, and we've got a great set of stories that we can talk about as well, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Let me bring up just a few of those in this first segment. We're going to talk a little bit about the new Box Android app, which is also available on the other devices.
You're talking about like
Box.net.
Okay,
yeah.
Right.
We have a new app that's rolling out for the Android.
My maxim would be there's no substitute for being first in the marketplace. They showed Dropbox, case closed, but we'll talk about it if you want to talk about it.
That's right. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk a little bit more about T-Mobile and their latest plans for LTE. Say what?
Hooray! That's what you say.
Yes. So we'll talk about that and much, much more in this episode of Room 3026 Live. Let me say hi to you, Mike and Derek. Welcome.
Hey.
Thanks for hanging out with me today. I want to say hi to Miss Eileen Smith, who is just walked in the room. Hello, ma'am. That's Miss Smith. Thanks for being here. So let me ask you guys, what's going on, man?
Never a dull moment in this place, to be sure.
Never a dull moment.
Mike and I switched places. He's doing the high fidelity. He's in training. It's a knowledge transfer thing.
That's awesome.
He's learning to do the thing. Because I'm going to California, I think, next week.
Sweet. So might as well learn now.
Yeah.
You know how that works. Yeah. Are those levels right, Mike? Is that right? Are those good levels?
No say.
Can you hear the
well,
levels?
Yeah. They'll be fine. And if not, we will see. You know, they sure are jumpy. It looks like the processor's having a hard time. We'll talk about that.
Okay. Well, there it is. There is.
That's not common. You know, you might want to minimize. Yeah, just put it. Minimize the whole thing. It might be that the graphics are taking away unnecessary processing power.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, you could probably end up doing never mind. We'll talk about it in a while.
All right, cool.
Anyway, thanks for that. What's going on with you, Mike? I see you wearing your military gear today.
Nothing.
You about to go hard today? Where's your purple boots?
Not hard enough. You should have did that thing when I told you to do that thing. No.
But no.
You gonna be a nice guy.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that, but I do get to complain.
Nice guy.
You know, that's what I do.
Nice guys finish last, but they do finish. So.
Well said, sir.
Anyway, all right. Well,
there is such a thing as being dead right. You took the prudent way.
There you go. Good stuff. All right. Cool beans, man. Cool beans. Let's go ahead and jump into our announcement, and then we can jump into our story.
Announcements.
Announcements. Okay. Triangle AMA, the digital marketing training camp, that is happening February 29th at the Briar Creek Country Club. TriangleAMA.org. TriangleAMA.org. You can use this discount code for 10% off. That's DMBC10. Another way of saying that is Digital Marketing Bootcamp 10. DMBC 10. You can go use that and get 10% off. We'll be there. That's next Wednesday now. Time is ticking. And so we're going to have a good time doing our show from there. All right. Let's jump right on in then to our Feed Watch. Yeah. I think this is a good time to do that.
Oh. See, I'm stalling for you while you find the.
Well, I appreciate it, but for whatever reason, and it's not the operating system, the folder closed. So let's try that again.
Well, of course, it's the operating system.
Let's call it Feed Watch.
Dope.
There we go. Thank you.
Feed Watch. Feed Watch.
Feed Watch is when we constantly comb the blogs so that you don't have to.
Not constantly, because we're not combing now.
Sporadically.
Regularly.
Semi-regularly.
Consistently.
When we have time to.
Maybe.
Comb the blog so that you don't have to.
Yes.
We give you news that you can use because that's what we do.
Useful news is a good thing to do.
So you best not snooze. You will not lose.
Wake up.
Unless, of course, you just like singing the blues. A boo-hoo. Today's... You're singing the blues. Which reminds me, did you guys see President Obama sing last night?
Yes, Sweet Home Chicago with B.B. King,
yes.
Keb Mo, New Orleans legend. Nice.
Very well done.
I think so.
Yeah, I think he put him on the spot. Hey, President, come sing this.
I'm already mad.
And they hand the mic to him.
I'm mad at my president. Doggone it, man. Let's Stay Together was one of those songs. You really have to have you got to have coconuts of steel to try to attempt live. People, you can't not do an Al Green song. So now,
I know.
And I was one of the few kids in the hood that could pull that off and regularly did. But that was one of my go-to covers. And here he comes.
I know.
Stealing a Brother Thunder like that.
Well, just in case
I'm so mad.
You didn't hear it, let me play a little bit for you.
And he sounded good, too.
Yeah.
He got a strong falsetto. Son of a gun.
Amazing evening. Thank you.
Oh, this is the other one. Okay.
God bless you all.
I can let him have it.
Sing that. Yeah. Because I heard you.
Come on.
I heard you singing Al Green. So you have started something. You got to keep it up now. You can do it. Come on. You can do it. Come on with it.
Come on. Baby, don't you want to go?
Don't you want to go? Before, but now I kind of do.
Same old place. Sweet Home Chicago.
Don't you want to go?
It wasn't quite as strong as the.
It wasn't as strong as the other one. You're right
Al Green
about that.
joint.
Yeah.
He might have had a couple of pops in, and that might have been like me late in the third set.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was good to see him, though. Good in spirit. I think for whatever reason, the video when he sings, it tends to get a lot of attention.
I don't know, after the 20th Republican presidential debate last night, the 20th, I think he's probably in a pretty good mood. I'm just saying.
So how bad was it?
It wasn't
it was
bad,
crazy. I watched the clip of it.
It wasn't bad, but they're certainly not doing
playing nice.
Yeah, they're not doing themselves any favors. There's just not a real strong, threatening candidate right now. Things can change in a heartbeat, but right now,
yeah.
Jeepers! I think in his political staff campaign meetings, they probably go in there and start with, "Yeah, today's a pretty good day."
All right.
I'm just guessing. I mean, I don't know, but yeah.
What the heck is that, Mike?
Yeah, I know exactly what it is.
So let's talk about Box.net for a second. In the latest news, we learned that Box.net just rolled out a new Android app, and this comes from GigaOM. Says that users will be able to upload multiple files in the batch mode and also in background, and can invite collaborators to work on a document from their device.
On the Droid?
On the Droid.
Uh-oh.
And they can also comment on these documents from their phones.
All of this is very, very good.
So,
it seems like Google Docs and their latest Droid app have made some similar.
I know you can work on a document, but I didn't know that you could collaboratively work together and make comments on a document. I didn't see that. But this is obviously puts in line with Dropbox, right, with Google Docs, and other similar features where you can essentially store your documents, Word documents, and Excel files, and PowerPoint presentations, and other things like that in the cloud, which then makes it accessible to you from your mobile device or from really anywhere.
Yeah, well, anywhere
where you can get network.
I'm still
internet access.
I'm still old, man. I want that data in a place where I can physically put my hands on it. It's not that I don't trust the cloud, but what I will tell you is, if it's really, really important, if my if my wireless net access goes, I don't want to be in a position where I don't get that direct and immediate access to those important documents.
Right.
I try not to put myself in that position, and of course, with the cloud, occasionally I do.
You know, and I can't speak intelligently about Box.net because I've only just began to use it just with these consultants. But
I am so loving
you can download though.
Yes.
You can download a offline version from Google.
Yes.
To say, hey, I won't have network access, but I can use this, or you can't edit it much from there, but you can look at it.
Same with Dropbox, except for Dropbox has allowed you to download an offline version for as long as I can remember. That's been a feature within the Dropbox Droid app, version of the app for a while.
So it definitely it's they're shaping up. You know, people are definitely moving more to this area here.
Dropbox gets all my cloud love right now. Dude, I mean, I can change something on my phone right now and walk around the corner to my desk and it's changed. Go to my Mac at home and it's changed, and any other device. And I'm beginning to look at using it as a collaborative effort. For instance, the set list. We've got a set list for the M80s, my frivolous, fun, cheesy 80s bands playing downtown Raleigh Friday, tomorrow, at the Big Easy. Should be a whole lot of fun. We're putting together a list of 40 songs, and for some reason say, oh man, that one is really hard. I don't want to sing that right after that one because it's really hard on my lump. You know, if my drummer says I don't want to sing that one and that one right behind the other. Dude, why don't you sing that song that you sing in between the two? And we do that kind of collaboration online in real time. And he's got a healthcare job, so that sometimes he puts in his suggestions at 3 and 4 in the morning. So if he's Dropbox capable, even though he doesn't necessarily have Dropbox, he doesn't have a smartphone. He's got access to a computer, and it is working out really, really well initially. And the cool part is we don't even have to print out a set list or nothing like that. We all go in with those devices. If he doesn't have a smartphone, he just prints it out from his computer. It's working out surprisingly well.
And I want to point out a couple other things about this. Is that Android, and the thing that's interesting, the question is, why did they choose Android over the iPhone?
Good question.
Over Microsoft, for example? Well, I have a reason here. That is that according to Matthew Self, the VP of Platform Engineering, I was trying to help him understand why, and I'm looking at Mike for a second to say, hey, can you hear to make sure the sound is fine?
Yeah.
Because the levels aren't as high as they used to be. So
I can assure you that they are. Those are the exact same thing, because I didn't adjust them from one device to another. I just said use the same device as I used
in my login. Those levels are straight.
But I was going to say here's why did they pick Android over the iPhone? Well, here's a report that Matthew Self, the VP of Platform Engineering for Box, said. He said Android has eclipsed the iPhone on the phone side, and it's growing fast in tablets. There are a lot of Android phones coming into the enterprise.
Really?
He continues to say that Gartner numbers report that Android has 50% of the smartphone market, Apple has 25%, and Microsoft with just 2%, a number which he think will not improve much from there. So great. Okay, good. So Eileen says, sounds good today. Woohoo! Excellent. So with that being said, in addition to these features that they're rolling out, I do want to point that this version is good across all
platforms?
Android platforms.
All Android platforms.
Yes. So all the way up from the newest version to the oldest version of Android.
That is,
you can use all the features.
Again, I would draw the similarity in Dropbox. You know, my Hack Droid. Now you can get them for like $75 with the Wi-Fi capability and all that, which I use essentially as a glorified sheet music holder. Mm-hmm. It has Dropbox on it, and it works just like a charm.
Mm. It also has 4 languages. Does your thing do that?
Would not know.
French, Italian, German, and Spanish.
Would not know. So
again, for me right now, I think I'm going to continue to use Google Docs for the majority of what I'm doing as it pertains to dropping documents and pictures and sounds or whatever else. But I have noticed that more and more of my friends are using Dropbox. But the thing is, I have to buy more space.
Not necessarily.
As a matter of fact, the other day, I think I met like the 2 gig limit or whatever it was, and it says you have no more space for documents.
I'm in the same place.
Do you want to buy more?
I am struggling. I will very likely do that as opposed to keep continuing with the struggle. And a whole lot of those things, my document reading stuff that is on my reading list, I either convert it to a PDF or just throw it in Google Docs and forget about it. I don't really need both. I have very, very specific use for Dropbox, and a whole lot of that other stuff I just throw it in to Google Docs, and the stuff I read while I'm waiting for the dentist or the doctor or something like that. That's my reading list is typically a Google Docs thing. But those things that I update typically, or I really want to have direct cloud access across multiple devices, that's not Google Docs. All of that stuff goes in Dropbox. So, like for instance, my desktop backgrounds. You know how I rotate them? It turns out I got them rotating on all my machines that have online, because they're all going and getting them and rotating them from Dropbox. Cool. If I find one that I like on one machine, it shows up in the rotation for all of them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because it's essentially what's happened, and I think this is what is slightly different from Google Docs, is that even though Google Docs is a cloud, or Dropbox is a cloud version, there is a local version on your machine, so that when you drop it into this cloud, it also downloads to your other box. Because clearly, and I realized this when I was deleting all this stuff, because I'm like, dude, I'm running out of space. Why am I running out of space? And I realized that 2 gigs of that was on my machine, and I thought it was always in the cloud.
You're talking about how you run out of space on your
my own machine,
on your machine, or on your Android?
On my machine.
I see, because I had some similar issues with my Android device. I'm running out of that internal space.
Right.
So, dude.
So 2 gigs of that was coming from people just dropping documents and pictures and audio files into this Dropbox, and it's ending up on my machine. And I said, wait a second.
That's the other cool thing. That is not the case with my Android device. I only download the local copy when I want it, and it basically when I reboot the machine and it goes and Dropbox starts up, it goes and gets a database of those files to which are available to me, and if I want to see them, a local version shows up. But until they're just there until I ask for them.
Well, let me say what's up to Tim Arthur, who just walked in the door. What's up, man? Thanks for joining us today. Let's switch gears and talk a little bit about your mobile carrier, Derek.
Hooray!
T-Mobile, for those of you who don't know, just announced some new plans to also enter the LTE or 4G space, and they're going to launch this in 2013. Coming from Mashable, we learned that T-Mobile announced that it will be beginning a major network transformation, which will come into place in 2013. T-Mobile's going to spend up to $4 billion to help modernize their network.
I could make the same argument with them as I have been making for these many weeks about Netflix. I think a lot of their investments are essentially making them more attractive to potential buyers.
Well, Sprint is doing the same thing.
Sprint, but Sprint is, I think Sprint is not immune to a buyout, but they are, as far as the remaining big players go, it is the weakest of the herd that's going to get bought out.
Right.
More likely than not.
But
the other players in the herd probably can't buy them for the same reason
right.
that T-Mobile didn't. The buyout didn't go through from T-Mobile earlier. Those monopoly concerns, which I think are legitimate, but I think somebody that is outside of that cellular service provider space that's doing something else that wants to get in, that's prime for the pickings. Same with Netflix.
And you're talking about buying out or selling their company, which you tend to like to do, and that may be the case with T-Mobile. I don't know.
Well, T-Mobile is actually a subdivision of a bigger German company, so it's very much like they're just lobbing off a little piece.
Sure, but I guess what I was looking at was not so much that they're going to do all this to get bought out, and that may be the case, but I was looking at it from the standpoint of we're seeing a trend here across some of the mobile carriers who are saying, look, we got to get into this space. Verizon is already doing that with their LTE, which we talked about yesterday, and they're having issues.
And that's why T-Mobile. I think that's why T-Mobile unleashed the lawyers when they had the opportunity. And even and time is still no guarantee that they've actually got a legitimate legal beef, but they certainly gummed up the works by claiming that they did.
Right. Sprint has also moved on its way to LTE as well, and I think when I look at this story, I see they're saying we have to do this in order to stay competitive.
I agree.
Even though it's going to hurt us, it is an investment because Sprint is putting a lot of money down to make this happen. But I almost think that the sort of pain point that they're experiencing today, and what you said about T-Mobile spending $4 billion on this network modernization, it's going to hurt them in the short term because that's money that they could be using or use for something else.
For anything.
But they have to.
Yep.
I mean, if it's going to be really hard to stay relevant in a time where more and more phones and more customers are expecting a 4G service.
I have a hard time seeing any of the remaining major players in that cellular service provider space staying in business unless they can make a reasonable case that they provide 4G service.
Right.
I just don't see any of them surviving unless they can do that. Even if they experience problems like AT&T or I'm sorry, that was Verizon.
That was
yesterday.
Verizon, yes.
Yep. Even if they experience growing pains that there are too many noses in the trough and the service isn't as reliable as customer, that you got to offer the service,
right?
Or you don't get to stay around. In my opinion,
especially since more and more of these newer phones are on 4G. And as we were talking yesterday with Sprint, I mean, they're charging me for 4G even though I'm not getting it in all cases. They're still going to charge it, and it's kind of like 3D in movie theaters. They see that this is a way to make some extra cash and not have to provide, that service all the time. And if you want to watch a movie today, it's Star Wars Episode 1, and we've already seen the movie, but yet they're going to bring it back to theaters in 3D because they can make some money on it. Yep.
And the same
it's what's happening here
for the 4G, the LTE 4G stuff. You're right. That makes sense.
They're just trying to fund getting it, but as more and more of these phones are on 4G.
Well, I think there are some services or some apps that require 4G in order to work right. Any of those video streaming services. I mean, video conferencing, wireless video conferencing joints. The reason that we were complaining about they didn't really work all that well last year when we talked about the 3 or 4 that came about at the same time.
Right.
They had to be on Wi-Fi to work, which is to say, they're not going to work on a 3G network.
Right. Yeah. Well, I agree with you 110%. It's the future, and as more of these phones begin to roll out with the 4G access, you're gonna say, well, who can support the Galaxy Nexus?
Right.
I'm just using that as an example. Who can support it? And if you're on a network,
because I'm gonna get one before
right? It sucks. It sucks.
I don't know. I might not get one.
That's
before
horrible.
You. When's your
August?
See, that's my wife's. My wife's contract expires in August, so I probably am stuck with T-Mobile until that happens. So unless T-Mobile gets it between now and then,
right?
Oh, the race is on.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. Although I am aware they're dropping another phone here soon, so I'm kind of like, really, what else?
Uh-oh.
What else can they do? So, any case, that's Box.net. Now, before we go to our next set of stories, or before we go to Daily Booth, let me tell you what we have on the other side of Daily Booth.
What's up?
We have Microsoft, who throws down the gauntlet and challenges the iPhone and Android.
What?
We're going to talk a little bit about what that challenge involves. And we're also going to look at Foxconn and Apple's response to ABC's report on the Foxconn. So that's right after our Daily Booth. So pull out your cameras, y'all. Let's see what you look like.
What it look like?
Or what are you wearing?
What are you wearing?
All right. Daily Booth is where we go to take pictures. Mike,
better have some clothes on, because I don't want
to.
I don't want.
Mike Brendan, where's your camera?
Man, it takes too long to connect to the network.
All right. Well, pull out your cameras. Pull out your cell phone. Or just upload a picture, whatever is easiest for you.
Network.
And once you do, we'll take a look at it. And
our network isn't compatible with your operating system. We're compatible.
And once you take your picture, share it with us right here in the chat room, and we'll take a look at it. Also, if you're listening on an archive show, or if you're nowhere near a computer, which is totally okay, go to dailybooth.com. Follow me at dailybooth.com/Damon Nolan, and we will follow you back. Or I will follow you back, because there's only one of me. Anyway, thanks for that. I know, right? I was like, dude, how many of Damons are there? Mm-hmm. So let me go to this real quick. Now, it looks like Miss Eileen snapped a picture and says, I guess I was bragging too much about Verizon Fios because look what happened. And she took a picture of it and says, should have knocked on wood, LOL. It says, this channel is currently unavailable. ABC WPV. They tried debugging the channel and then, was it renaming or retuning to this channel? And it's like, basically, it's an error message. Ouch. Ouch. And for those of you that were just coming on, Miss Eileen was talking very highly about the new Verizon, or the Verizon Fios, which is the internet, television, and phone service that they provide.
With yesterday's episode yet.
So we just wanted to say thank you for that. Thank you for filling us in and keeping us on our toes. Mike Render also snaps a picture and says, us. Somehow I wasn't ready for that picture. See me, I'm over here talking.
It's a nice hat, but that's all you can see of me.
Yeah. Next time, let me know so I can drop my earphones.
Wave your hand.
It has to be
heads up or something.
It has to look natural.
Is that what it is? This is the natural look
environment. Yeah.
And you look natural. Yeah, sure.
Because I'm holding the camera, but still.
So somebody has to look natural, just not me. Gotcha. I see how that
you
works.
and Derek both look natural.
That's how I look for real? I look just like that?
Yep.
Clearly, because that's what the camera caught.
I mean,
the camera didn't actually move you into that position.
I think the camera just there's some something going on with that
crop.
Anyway, thanks for taking that picture, Mike Render. Tim Arthur takes a picture, and I don't know if he said anything. Can you scroll down a little bit? He takes a picture and says, "Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. I think you did it." And he throws up the thumb. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. All right. Well, thanks for sharing it. Don't forget, you can always drop that on us as you get your pictures, and we'll take a look at them. Let's move on to our next set of stories. Let's begin by first of all talking about this new challenge that Microsoft is throwing down against the iPhone and Android. Which what they are calling the Windows Phone Challenge. You heard it here first. This is a new campaign from Microsoft where they're essentially trying to say, can your phone do this?
What?
can your phone do this? Better yet,
I used to say that a lot when I was the first kid on this block to
can
get the Android, and you were still
phone do this
phone equivalent of the Model T that some people call the BlackBerry. Yeah. I used to get more pleasure than I should have out of sending those emails.
I have a small commercial from the Windows Phone campaign, and I want you guys to take a listen to this, and let me know what you think.
Hey, I'm Ben, and today we're betting people $100 that Windows Phone is simply faster at the everyday stuff they do on their smartphones.
So, and you have an iPhone 4S, which is Apple's newest, greatest, biggest, baddest phone.
You have MyTouch 4G, is that right?
Yeah. I have the HTC Evo 3D.
So why don't we do this? We'll say something really amazing is happening, and we want to take a picture of it really, really quickly.
Okay.
So we'll take a picture, and then we'll post to Facebook. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. I'm uploading to Facebook.
Are you serious? Oh my god.
Uploading right now. Where are you?
Oh my god, I like lost my little picture.
So you lost the camera?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me tell you why.
So basically, you can from that you can hear that he's in a mall. It looks like a Walmart or someplace, a library, and he sets up a booth and basically says, "Can your phone do it like this?" There are a number of things that these videos are trying to accomplish. Number one, I'm trying to show just how fast the Microsoft phone really is, and they're doing so on a number of different competitions. Number one, can your phone get to take a picture and post it to Facebook, which is what we just saw a moment ago? The other one is how fast or how quick can you find songs and music? Well, if you, and that's another video that they actually are showing as well to show you just how fast it really is to use the Microsoft phone. Now, the guy who's doing this or leading this effort, his name is Ben Rudolph, otherwise known as the PC guy, who bets consumers $100 that the Windows Phone is faster than their phone. Now, here are a couple things that kind of come to my mind first of all. Now, understand, he has put the gauntlet down against the iPhone and the Android phone, right? He said the iPhone 4, I think he said 4S, and he kind of goes, the Evo was the other one that he mentioned as well. But here's the thing. When it comes to taking pictures, he just used a shortcut button, which I think we all have to some degree. Now, I don't know about Mike, if you have yours
I think anyone
available.
can do that,
I have a shortcut button on the side of my phone that I can turn on to make that the camera, right? Like if I click this button, it can automatically become the camera.
Yeah, you move stuff over to your main screen / desktop. This is.
I'm talking about on the side of your phone. On the side of your phone,
I
right?
can take a picture from the button on the side of my phone.
Yeah,
but I can't just hit it and the camera comes up.
But I'm sure that you can set it so that you click that button, and then the camera will come up. It will open.
I guess.
Yes, I've done it. As a matter of fact, if on the side of my phone there's a button that you use to take a picture.
Yeah, my Evo could do that.
Right.
And my BlackBerry could do that.
I'm just saying. I'm just not so sure why that is such the exceptional selling point that no one else's phone can.
Well, their point being, hey, it's so much faster than your phone. Look, I can push this button on the side of my phone to bring up the camera, and look at you. You're having to search through a bunch of icons.
Dude, I haven't set my phone up. That's not
the photo
important
camera.
to me.
Right. So I think
it's out of here with that joke.
It's definitely a little bit misleading.
Yeah, kind of disingenuous, as if everyone's phone can't actually do that. It's physically impossible to do that on any other. Stop it.
Right.
Stop hyping me.
So I just wanted to put that out there to say, yeah, that's cool. That your phone can do that, but you probably, but can you do that on all things? Let's try. Let me come up with something to challenge you on. Like, how fast can you get to Facebook? Go. How fast can you get to Facebook, put a post in, and then go? Right? So,
How fast can you post a picture to Daily Boost? Go.
Right, he's not going to be ready for that, and it reminds me of
that's just marketing.
Years ago,
like we talked about it. They don't have to fully disclose anything.
Well,
their job is to sell you.
You got to ask the question.
Exactly,
right? You got to ask
the smart questions. There you go.
I recall I had a vacuum salesman come to my house a couple years ago, and he brought his little handy dandy $1,000 vacuum cleaner that was going to suck up all the dirt from under my house through the carpet. That's how powerful it really was.
Nice.
And so what he did was he said, look, pull out your vacuum, I'll pull out my vacuum. You vacuum this part of the rug, and then I'll come behind you and vacuum. I said, okay, cool. So I vacuum with my, my $100 Walmart vacuum cleaner. It looked cool. And I'm vacuuming, and then he comes behind me, and he vacuums. Now he says, now pour out the dirt in yours, and I did. He said, that's a lot of dirt, huh? And I said, yeah, it's dirt. He says, now watch this. Then he pours out some more dirt. They said, so what I'm saying is, my vacuum cleaned up after your vacuum and still got some more dirt. And I said, okay, hold on. Let me now vacuum after your vacuum. And let's see how much dirt I pulled up.
Twice, you're still going to get some extra dirt.
So I did it, right? And then I got more dirt. And I was like, dude, for you to sit here and tell me that your stuff completely vacuumed mine, let me vacuum yours.
I'll vacuum your vacuum cleaner up with my vacuum cleaner. Get out of here.
He said, nobody ever asked me about that.
Vacuum cleaner will suck your vacuum.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, you're the worst.
It's called critical thinking.
Just ask
you would be the worst person to try to sell something.
No one. Examine, consider the source.
Like really?
Always.
Like really?
Always.
Yeah. So I wanted to share that critical thinking with you, just so that you know that Microsoft doesn't have it on lockdown. Let me say hi to Neil.
After all, if we practiced all that much critical thinking, we would probably be a Mac shop like most of the rest of the nation at this point. Yeah,
no.
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 It's a better box, dude. It just wasn't better marketed.
No. Where's my rolled up newspaper?
See? I see what you did there.
Right.
Taking my best stuff.
Hey, man.
Lucky for you, there's plenty more where that came from.
All right, let's move on and talk about Foxconn. And Apple's response to the ABC report coming from Mashable.
Very favorite of the recent ongoing tech stories.
So
tech related anyway.
We've heard some reports. I don't know if you guys have watched it or just how closely tied to this story you are. But there has been some reports that Foxconn, which is the manufacturer that creates Apple products.
I think it's important to point out that initially Apple hardware was assembled and built right here in the good old US of A.
Sure, but due to whatever reasons that's cheaper, manual labor, whatever that is.
I think there's a very, very part of the reason why I'm so enamored with the story is the reason is clear, and what people really aren't talking about, there's a very clear reason why that's no longer the case, and it's about labor. It's about living wage. It is about American workers.
Which, and not to go too far off, which I am hearing that more and more companies are coming back to the United States with their manufacturing. I just heard a story the other day, a number of companies, and this is due in part to Obama's and I didn't hear this from an Obama company or anything like that, but a number of companies are coming back because of some of the benefits of being here. As a matter of fact, one of the gentlemen who was in the report, he said, at the end of the day, it's actually cheaper to come back here and do some of this work because the quality of work has proven to be better here than what is being shown in other countries.
That is one of the things that I really, really like a lot about an overarching, recurring theme in what we'll call startup culture. The idea that I will likely not be able to provide this service or manufacture this product as cheaply as the big competitors right now. What I can do is make a product that is so much better that it justifies the higher price.
Sure. Absolutely.
It's almost like building a better mousetrap. Before we go too far away, and I don't want to go on a tangent, but I do want to put the bug in your ear that the idea of saving the American workforce and bringing manufacturing back is not the answer, because a lot of manufacturing didn't go overseas. It got automated. The idea is not so much putting American workers back into manufacturing jobs. It is putting them into any job, goods, or service providing that provides a living wage. That may not necessarily be manufacturing, and in fact, it probably won't be manufacturing because the nature of manufacturing that made America great, it's changed, it's different, and it's not going back. But there are things that we can do to encourage businesses that provide living wages that aren't necessarily manufacturing. There are goods and services that we can that you don't need a PhD or a medical diploma or a law degree to do and still make a decent living.
So let's talk then, shall we, about what this report from ABC actually said.
Excellent.
And according to this, it says the report suggests that many workers complained that they were underpaid, while other workers complained of the very long hours that they work. Now, Foxconn, Apple, and the Fair Labor Association have responded to the report, shedding new light on some of the important details about the working conditions at Foxconn. And if I'm not mistaken, was this not the company that people were jumping off the roof?
That's right. They were suicide pacts within large group of workers. Dude, if this happens, we are all going to kick our own buckets. I can't live like this was essentially what the news stories about that rash of suicides within that very company. That's what they inferred, or maybe that's what I inferred from the way that they put those stories out. I don't want to speak definitively about that because who knows what's on their hearts and how they really died. But it seemed to me that was the overall impression that I'll just say that's the overall impression that I got from those stories, whether they meant to leave that impression or not.
Well, Apple is responding to the claims that they are being overworked and underpaid. And one of the things that they say is that they're responding to one of the workers' claims that she etches logos into 6,000 iPads during one shift. Apple claims this is not possible. They write, in manufacturing parlance, this is called deburring. Her line processes 3,000 units per shift, with 2 shifts per day for a total of 6,000. A single operator at Miss Zhao's station would deburr 3,000 iPads in a shift, Apple told ABC, adding to the Zhao Yao Ying probably misunderstood the question. Maybe she didn't get it. Maybe what she meant to say, she works 2 shifts, not 1.
It could very well be for her a shift is a 12-hour, 18-hour proposition, which according to the ABC report is commonplace. And those worker ailments that are also commonplace makes what we call carpal tunnel syndrome look like I got popcorn in my teeth.
Foxconn claims that the starting salary for employees is not as low as the report suggested. They write, we have over 75% of the employees in the category of earning at least 2,200 RMB, which is about $349 per month, which is the basic compensation standard. That means that they are earning about $2.18 per hour. If they continue to work overtime, or if they work overtime on the weekend, they will earn $4.28 per hour.
Quickly, the idea that overtime is automatically paid within all those kind of labor-intensive manufacturing jobs, that is very, very rare in China, and overtime pay is a very much of an American construct, and it comes from the idea of labor unions. If I work over X, you got to pay me a little more, and that is one of those things that unions created that spread throughout the world. And I think that's worth pointing out. And China is clearly beginning those growing pains. They look very, very much like the same conditions that brought unions, thusly a living wage for an honest day's work, to the United States.
They continue to say that in addition, in order to reach 3,500 to be taxable, they will have to work 47 overtime hours to reach 3,500, said Foxconn, adding that the ABC's claims are only true when applied to entry-level workers. So
what defines an entry-level worker is it makes all of those claims kind of sort of discretionary. So again, while these suicide pacts and other complaints en masse. They don't have a labor union per se. Clearly, from the stories that we are getting, it is serving very much the same function. It is those people that are doing those same things that are that have a grievance as a group coming out as a group to air those grievances.
Right.
And that's the only way that you can negotiate, or you can negotiate with whoever it is that's signing your paycheck.
Right.
If not, then the guy that signs a paycheck calls the shots and you dance to the tune.
So one of the things that comes to mind with this is I don't really know what to believe. You know, it's not like I'm there counting.
I feel you.
You know, I mean, there's definitely going to be a reason why Foxconn and Apple and even the Fair Labor Association are sort of defending this right now. Well, number one being is that their name is attached to this. If Foxconn's name is put through the mud, then they're probably going to go out of business. If Apple gets a poor name, that probably will affect their company's. It won't. I don't doubt it would close it. Because think about Nike.
I'm not so sure the risks are that big.
But you don't want a bad name. I mean, definitely you don't want to be said as, hey, look at what they did, similar to Nike. Look at what they've done. They are now using kids and they're using women to build.
Prison labor is not been uncommon in the past for a lot of those big well, let's call them mills, cheap labor mills. And as a descendant of slaves, I feel morally obligated to do my part to see to it that slavery, and that is what we're talking about, forced labor from prisoners, even if they're political prisoners, and children doing those big companies manufacturing things in such a way that they could not legally do here.
Mm-hmm.
It is from, in my world, it is morally tantamount to slavery. As a descendant of transatlantic slaves, I am morally obligated to end slavery, not outsource it. And I think the idea that some of these most egregious labor abuses on the part of these overseas manufacturers, again, we say a lot, sunlight is the best disinfectant. I believe we as Americans still have an innate, an internal sense of fairness. You can't abuse working people like that, especially because most of us, we work. So the idea that that these gadgets are being produced under such horrible circumstances, I think it's just bad marketing for Apple. I think they are afraid of what might happen if some of these pictures of some of these most horrible abuses, especially you looking at the repeated stress injuries, what a lot of us refer to as carpal tunnel syndrome, and if they go untreated and guys are still grinding it out, and people are enduring intense pain just to send money home to their families where there are no jobs. I think that if the more real this becomes to us Americans as consumers, the less likely any of us are to buy any of those products. Apple knows that. Right. And I think that's really where the impetus for that's why we're talking about this story right now.
Right. For those of you that are just coming in, let me welcome you all. We have a number of guests that are here. We also have Little Bites who jumped in as well. How goes it, ma'am? We also have I think it's I can't see from here. I think it's Pianki is another one.
Planky?
It looks like a P.I. Pianki is here as well. So I want to say thank you to you. And let me turn to the phones. It looks like we have a phone call here. I don't know who it is, so I'll be careful and say hello. Welcome to the telephone call, 314. You're on the air.
Oh, yeah. How are you this afternoon?
Doing well.
You know, I was listening to the conversation. But you know what's worse yet? It may not be worse, but what is just as disgustful, what goes on here in the United States is that Americans are overcharged for practically everything it is that they do. And, you know, when you look at businesses that take advantage of the lower labor costs and lower costs of productivity in other countries, there are some shortfalls that's going along with those operations. But the overall gist of the fact, I don't think is anything wrong with. But what would be wrong and would be terrible if the type of standard of living that we experience here is being projected into other areas of the world where it just don't exist. For instance, look at the subsidies that goes to industries, especially like the agriculture industry, where you have your corporate farms that's being subsidized by a U.S. government in the form of dollars, where they're able to grow crops in Nebraska and some of your western states, northwestern states, where they can export those crops down into Mexico and South America and dump them on those markets where the locals cannot.
You know where I kind of might disagree with you, and this may very well be
I'm just about done. Then those workers migrate up into the states, into the
that is, you have touched on one of my very, very favorite topics. What'd you say your name was?
Name is Pianki, but let me. I guess I'm just about there. And see, when they work on these farms in these states, minimum wage does not cover those activities are exempt from the minimum wage laws of those states.
Yes, we're coming from North Carolina, which is a right-to-work state, and if you wait tables for a living, that is exempt from the minimum wage as well. The thing is, we don't have an illegal alien problem here in the United States. Just to touch on what you said earlier, we have an illegal employer problem. What's going on is people come from other places to make a living wage that they can't make here. They come illegally, essentially, for the jobs. If we were to punish those, what we call job creators, so harshly in such a way that would discourage them from utilizing that cheap labor, if the sanctions for doing that were harsh enough, they would stop that substandard payment practice for illegal workers, and they would be forced to to do what they are legally obligated to do for workers with American workers. I hear over and over again they're just doing jobs that Americans won't do, and that's bullpuckies to be kind about it. There is no job an American won't do, provided they get a living wage for that. And I think that's and that's touched on what we were talking about earlier. Manufacturing isn't coming back because of the way that manufacturing has changed worldwide. But that doesn't mean we can't provide a living wage for people that work. And I think it's really important to understand that either our standard of living is going to positively affect the rest of the world, or that old way of going about that old model before we had labor laws, the 40-hour work week and these other things that American workers take for granted. Either that is going to positively impact the rest of the world, or that what we would call substandard labor working conditions is going to affect us. There's things aren't going to stay the way they are.
Well, I don't think that America's labor laws is going to affect the rest of the world.
I think they already are. I mean, but just by the idea that that this Foxconn, they are paying their workers overtime, and they are under no obligation to do so. To the best that I understand, the Chinese manufacturing plants, they aren't obligated to do that. There was no such thing as overtime until basically this American construct directly and positively impacted them.
Well, I spent a lot of time in West Africa.
And
I can tell you that's not going to happen there. The problem is, as I keep saying, is that the cost to live here in the United States is ridiculous and sinfully high. And for workers to come here and be able to maintain a place here and still be able to send remittances back to where they come from.
And that is the practice almost all the time.
Pardon me?
That is the practice most of the time, from my understanding. When people
it is.
So it's and I stepped on the last part of your sentence. Please repeat that. So in order for someone to come from another country to make enough money to send a remittance home and to live and to eke out a living here, what has to happen? I missed that last part of that sentence.
Well, what I'm saying is that is a demonstration of how it costs too much to live here. Haitians send billions of dollars back down to Haitians, and other immigrants send billions of dollars back to their home country.
Lots of other countries do that. Indeed, you're correct. Wow, that is an endless circle that we could probably go around for the rest of the program. But Pianki, thank you very much for joining us, and be sure to come back, and we touch on stuff like this all the time. Thank you very, very much for your for chiming in. Thanks for joining us. And the only thing better than a first offender, my friend, is a repeat offender. Thanks.
Yeah, it's good that you do. Thank you.
All right, man.
All right. Let me move on to quickly to our blog roll. But before we get to that, let me quickly tell you that there are a couple of stories that will follow. We may or may not have enough time to reach those, but I do want to talk about how there's a new study that just got released from the ComScore that says only 9% of parents are aware that their children are cyberbullying victims.
What?
And following that, there's also an interview with the CEO of Klout and what he has to say about measuring your influence online. Let us go to Blog Roll.
Roll in
with the POC.
You post and we roll with them.
Hi. Blog Roll is going to take a look at what you guys are writing, what you're putting out there into the blogosphere. Today we got one story from our girl, Miss Eileen Speaks. That's Miss Smith, by the way. Her blog title today is called "When to Start Guest Posting in Your Niche." This one is from her blog, basicblogtips.com. Again, that's basicblogtips.com. This one's written by James Pruitt, and there's a really good list of items that kind of get you thinking about how you go about doing that. I'll give you one example that they have here is start doing some networking. There's a number of ways that you can do that, other ways of kind of reaching out to those people in your niche, and you can come over here and see the entire list and also many of the comments that he has. I'll share this URL with you guys in the chat room, and just want to publicly say thank you to you, Miss Eileen, for sharing your stories with us as usual. On the other side of that, and I know we're going to run out of time now, I can see it right in front of my eyes, but let me quickly say that did you know, coming from the Next Web, that only 9% of U.S. parents even know that their kids are being cyberbullied?
You said 9 as in just 9%, single digit 9?
Single digit.
Well, you got to think if they knew, they would tell their kids to stop cyberbullying other kids.
Yeah, or being a victim of cyberbullying.
Oh, yeah, gosh. Same. I forgot about that side of the equation.
Yeah, overall, the parents, only half of them are even aware that the incidents are occurring in the U.S., which is quite interesting. Now, 30%. I got some other numbers that are in this study. 36% of parents admit to adding their children to their friends list to monitor the activity, which, according to this, says it doesn't really help because a lot of this bullying, cyberbullying, comes in the way of text messages, private online messages, chat, and even closed forums, which you can't see unless you know where they're going. 24.
They let you in. They don't.
Good luck with that.
Get to see it.
It's like, yeah, who are you? And especially talking about text messaging, you can't really control that. 24% of cyberbullying occurs on cell phones, 10% on chat applications. 52% of the respondents said that their children access social networks from a family computer, whereas 42% do it from their own computer. 25% say they're getting into social networks using their cell phones, which means they even bypass what their parents can see from their living room.
You got to wonder how many kids access social media without their parents' knowledge on their personal telecommunications devices.
Absolutely.
You got to wonder.
8% say they go to their friend's house and use their computer.
Sure.
And then 5% you just use the ones at school. So even as a parent, you have very little control
it's gotta be hard to
over where they're gonna do some of these things. You can't stop me. Now, Pew Research shows that 15% of children have experienced cyberbullying, while according to the data from Cyberbullying Research Center, that actually jumps up to 21%. So that's some of the latest figures you have there on cyberbullying. I wish we had.
Drop that in the chat room if you'd be so kind.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. All right, well, that noise, as you guys know, is the sound of the train. Time for us to let us go.
Gotta go.
But I want to say thank you to you for hanging out with us today. Thank you, Mr. Alan Tran. Also, P. Yankee for dialing in. I want to say thank you to Eileen Smith, Tim Arthur, Little Bites, that's Marianne, Michael Render. Also to Leon Lewis, who I wanted to get to your phone call, but I ran out of time. Thanks for calling in. Hope we can get back to that story.
Yeah,
as
this story's not going to go away.
To unfold. Thank all of you listening live and in archive. Don't forget, we are here every Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on blogtalkradio.com/Damon Nolan. You can also catch the replay, the archive, over there on youtube.com/Damon Nolan. It's a high fidelity sound. You can get all the best.
Maybe not the first minute and a half today.
Well, the majority of the show you can get definitely there. It's going to do it for us, y'all. Have a wonderful Thursday. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, Mike Render.
Deuces. Get back to work.
Deuces.
10 seconds.